What's that? Take cover. It's another heretic!
I feel like it's really hard to be excited for it, right? Because you know it's going to be a bunch of black boxes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's redacted except for Bill Clinton.
Yeah. So.
And Hillary in her like ceremonial robes or whatever.
All the low hanging fruit, right? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, it's crazy. That video I showed you really just goes to show I think the generational disconnect, I think. And how bizarre it is that a lot of people just know that this is just the way things are, and they've sort of just resigned themselves to it. Like, well, I mean, what else can you do? It's always been like this. And it's like, but there's a major problem with the status quo.
Yeah.
So it's crazy because we all tell each other that it's obvious. We already know who's on the list. So then it's like, okay, what are we as people, as a society, doing then about it? If we know that our system is failing us, then the next logical step is, and it's like no one wants to talk about that.
Well, let's look at our ancestors, for example, all right? Because this has been going on forever, right? Let's go to like lords, in their castle, and like preying on peasant women, or let's say you're in a village and kids are disappearing, and it can, what do? They rise against them with pitchforks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and that only happens because they're people that they're kids from the village. They're the king has inserted himself into a bridal party and taken the wife as his own, and their wedding notes. So these things like build direct animosity against a community. When you have a community as large as we do, interconnected through the internet and the world, and they're able to prey upon kids, like basically unseen.
Mm-hmm.
And the victims are unseen because they're either locked behind litigation or whatever, or murdered, or scared into exile, that the real problem never comes to light,
or just for whatever reason just outright disbelieved by a certain percentage of the public. As like, why wouldn't you take someone's claims of this seriously, like more seriously? And a lot of people just, I don't know, man. I don't know. If you would have asked me as a kid, if you would have told me 10 years ago that all this stuff would be happening, I don't think I would have believed you. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would have said the same. I probably would have said like, yeah, okay, you're a conspiracy theorist, right? That was a derogatory term for so long. Like, oh, okay, you're into conspiracies. I got you. Like, and now it's like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Tell me more.
Yeah.
What's your favorite conspiracy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I've had that conversation at work. Like, yeah, what's your favorite? What's your craziest one that you believe?
Well, before I've been recording now, I don't know, for a few minutes.
Okay.
Before we get any further into the discussion, why don't you tell people who you are, what you want them to know about you? Yeah.
That's, man, you're throwing me off with that because I don't want them to know anything about me. No, I don't know.
I got you.
I'm just a working man, a dad. I like to learn, and I like to try to figure out how the world works, and I like to see patterns in things, and I'm a truth seeker, right? So I don't cling on to any certain ideology. I just seek truth where I can find it.
Yeah, amen. Well, what's interesting is that, I mean, you and I have quite the history. I mean, we went to high school together.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just so crazy to have those memories of seeing each other in the halls and having classes together and graduating and just doing what we did as dumb kids. And then you fast forward and we reconnect later in life, and we have families now, and we're dads, and we're both on
Right.
this spiritual journey, and we're both asking the same questions. I mean, it's really cool how that worked out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lifetime ago. I feel like, a completely different person. I don't know if you feel the same way. I mean, I don't feel like I ever, really even knew myself until pretty late in my life,
Mm,
actually thinking and getting to know, I had a pretty easy life. So, a lot of things were done for me or decided for me. And so I just kind of like,
yeah,
I came like, to know myself, pretty late, which is interesting. I don't know if a lot of people get that chance, or it seems like more and more people have to like kind of figure that out earlier because they're forced to, or maybe they
yeah.
just yeah.
I like to describe myself as kind of like a rebel from the start, almost. I mean, I there were moments, like looking back, there were moments where I tried to like conform myself to like some sort of mold or image of whatever I thought was required of me based on whatever I thought was true. But then the more I mean, I'll be 36 now. So we're in our mid 30s, and it's like there's so many chances along the way to question your reality so that you can make better decisions and not make some of the mistakes that we have. But it's just, I think a lot of people miss those chances even though they're like put right in front of them, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, for me it
And I
was
think
really
that kind of
weird.
speaks to, sorry, I think that kind of speaks to
Go
what
ahead.
you wanted to, like what we were talking about over the week, which was I can't remember what it was called now, actually. I guess sort of just
Oh,
like
yeah.
a sort of manipulation or programming that we're all kind of under, or something to that effect.
Yeah, it was oh geez, I can't remember the guy's
The
name.
Frankfurt School.
Yes, the Frankfurt School. Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's so much, even like how much of it is even intentional. It seems like to me it's more of just a result of a system that's put in place. Like you look at that, for example, and how it started with like, you know, re-education of the Nazis, essentially, right? They had to figure
Mhm.
out what was wrong, and they came to the conclusion that it was an ideological flaw, or essentially a flaw in their humanity, and they had to correct it with education and propaganda. And then it's just trickled down, now to every single culture, and essentially what it's become is re-education of whiteness. I guess it's all European
Mm.
countries, and like um and it's I mean, it may not even entirely wrong. I mean, it's they're essentially they're trying to combat maybe something bad in our nature, or like the conqueror mentality, or nationalism, or which isn't always a bad thing. National pride can be good if it unites you for a good cause, maybe, or like if it keeps you in touch with your neighbors, or it wants, if it makes you want to have your neighbor's best, um, the best intention for them.
Mhm.
But if nationalism becomes a thing where it's turning you against others, or whatever, then I think it's a bad thing. But I think it's good to have an identity in
Yeah.
which you can, connect with people.
Yeah.
So whenever single identity is broken down, and then you can't really connect with others, or they've chopped it up into such small segments so that you will always have some sort of disagreement, or something that says like, oh wait, we can't be friends, you have
Yeah.
belief X. Okay. Yeah.
Well, really, what it is I mean, it dehumanizes us because the one thing that we truly all have in common is that we're all humans.
We're all gotta live, and we're all gonna die.
Yeah, like no matter what a person believes or claims to be or whatever, like they're still a human. So I would say right now, the entire West, I think you're right. The entire Western world is sort of undergoing this kind of like a purge of or a purge in a psychological sense. It's like they're trying to re-educate us. We're almost undergoing, as an entire Western civilization, it seems that we're all undergoing a sort of re-education. And I feel like that's part of a lot of why we can't really talk about what's actually behind Epstein, or who or what entities might actually be behind Epstein, because the moment you raise that, we come back to the whole idea of, anti-Semitism and all this stuff. So it's when
Right.
when an entire nation is being molded around this idea that you can't criticize one group or another, then that is a sort of nationalism that's dangerous. That
Yeah.
itself becomes fascism, because one of those people happen to be at least part of the problem. Not that they're all part of the problem, because it's a conspiracy. In order for it to be a conspiracy, there has to be a group of people with united interests. So it could be group A, group B, group C. It's not just all group A or all group C.
Mm-hmm.
So, when they're blame shifting and they're conflating and they're straw manning, then it's hard for people to properly seek information. They get swept away. They become part of the Borg,
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I liked how in that description of the what was it? The school? Which school was it again? Oh crap!
The Frankfurt School.
Yeah, the Frankfurt School, and how it described how every country has like essentially like an original sin. Like the
Yeah.
Nazis, they had the Jews. America has slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Britain has colonization, and the empire. And so essentially, there's this deep-seated guilt that is underlying the fabric of each culture, and that is used to pry the country apart, right? It's like a dividing thing that's used to like, or I guess like a cattle prod that's used to like push you this way or that way based on whatever they want to do. So, and I mean, I'm probably not the only one that notices that every time an election year comes around, it's racism becomes a very big problem, right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's all over the news. There's beatings, there's killings, there's whatever. It gets crazy. And it's just, they just got to separate the masses real quick, divide you up, and, then they just kind of do their thing and they play like their game. And then, okay, it's over. You guys can get back together now and behave. And it's just like so transparent, I guess. Once you see it, it's just kind of like gross. And everyone is sincerely, arguing their side and whatever, and they don't realize that they're just, being puppeteered, and it's yeah. I mean, I guess that's the name of the game, right? Is just the show, the grand play, both sides trying to, both sides are arguing each other, but then they get done and they're part of the same circles, and they know the same people, and they really want the same things, and so it's just. But I feel like that's becoming more of a mainstream opinion as well. I mean, a lot of people are like, I think the never voters are becoming a bigger group now. Like, I know me and my house, we're done voting. I mean, it's just, You mean South Park did it the best, right? You're picking between the giant douche and the turd sandwich, and
Yeah.
to argue for either side
Yeah.
is just complete lunacy. Oh, we're a turd sandwich household here, you know. Where it's like, it's so silly you sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. It's really amazing. You talk with people about these things, and it really just comes down to that. Well, I'm voting for the better, the lesser of two evils.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time I heard that, it just suddenly clicked in my mind, like, wait, then that just means that I'm still perpetuating or choosing evil.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then the reply to that is, well, you know, we're all sinful, we're all fallen, and it's not like we're choosing our pastor. Like, but it's like, shouldn't you still want the person in this office to be of like utmost integrity to be able
Yeah.
to withstand like the most scrutiny? But for some reason, people are just okay with their leaders being abject, morally despicable, pathetic examples of humans. I don't know how else to put it. I'm trying not to like, you know, use vulgar terms, but I mean, it's like, why do we just accept that? It just bothers me.
Yeah. And it's the illusion of choice, right? Because they're deciding who you get to choose. They're
Yeah.
they're holding them in front of you, like, do you want this one or that one? You know, but
Mhm.
but they're giving them to you. You know, it's not like you're choosing from your friends or people you know or from good examples or whatever. Yeah, I guess that's the part I hate the most is the illusion of choice. It's like if you want, you know, a dictatorship, just do it. You know, like just
Right.
instead of putting two out there, just put one out there. You know, like
Mhm.
just
Yep.
just stop. You know, just go like the Putin style. You know, like cut the bullshit. You know, we're all adults here. Mhm.